Let us review the order of execution of SQL. However, before getting into the order of execution of SQL, first let us review the order of writing the query. This is how we typically write the query. We start with select clause, then we specify from, then join with conditions as part of on, then where to specify any additional filtering, then group by if you have to group the data by a particular field or fields, and optionally having if you have to filter the data on top of aggregated results using group by. Then finally order by. This is the order in which we typically write the query. Let's come up with a query which will compute daily revenue using complete or closed orders and also sorted by order date. So in this case, revenue can be computed using data from order items. Order date is in orders, and also we can actually use order status of orders to see complete or closed orders. Other orders can be ignored. As we have to use both orders and order items to get the query for this problem statement, we have to use join, and this is how we typically develop the query. We start with select clause. As part of the select clause, we specify the fields or expressions that are supposed to be projected. In this case, the date, because we are trying to compute daily revenue, and the revenue. Those two are the fields which we are trying to project. That's why we have these two. Then as part of the from clause, we have the join along with the join condition, after which we have the where to filter the data for complete or closed orders. Then we have group by, then order by. For both group by and order by, we are using order date here. You should be able to run the query and you can see the results. However, if you want to get only those dates whose revenue is greater than 50,000, in this case we are trying to filter the data based upon this field, which is nothing but this one. For this we can use having. When it comes to having, we can actually use either this alias or we can use this expression itself. So in this case, we can say having sum of order item subtotal greater than or equal to 50,000, and we should be able to see the results. This is how we typically write the query, starting with select, ending by order by. Now, with respect to order of execution, it is different from the order in which we have written the query. It will start executing using from clause. If you are joining multiple tables and also filtering the data using where condition, depending upon the query engine and the query itself, these two can execute in any order. It is not guaranteed that join will be executed first, then where. In many cases, where will be executed first and then join. It all depends upon the query engine using which the queries will be executed and also the query itself. We don't need to worry too much about in which order they will be executed, but just keep in mind that after understanding what tables should be read and after reading the data from those tables, the join or where can be executed in any order. Then comes group by and optionally having if you have having, then select, then order by. As select is executed before order by, we will not be able to refer the aliases defined in select clause in other clauses except for order by in most of the traditional databases. However, in Spark, we can specify the aliases defined in select in having as well along with order by. So we should be able to provide this alias not only in order by like this, but also under having. So in place of this expression, we can actually have the alias directly. You can see an example very soon. First, let us see whether this query will be executed. So in this case, we have revenue, which is nothing but alias, and it is specified as part of the where. Because select will be executed after where, the aliases that are specified in select will not be available as part of the where or even in from or on. In anyway, in from we typically define tables only. We will not be specifying columns and hence it is not applicable. However, as part of the on clause, we specify the columns and also expressions. People tend to misuse or incorrectly use this alias as part of the on clause or where clause like this. This will error out because the select clause will be executed before order by, not before where clause, and hence the aliases specified in select clause cannot be used anywhere other than order by and having when it comes to Spark SQL. If you run this, it will just throw an error. You can see the error. It says cannot resolve revenue given input columns are these ones. So you can only specify the columns that are part of orders and order items or simple functions which are not aggregate in nature. You cannot specify this function also directly as part of the where clause. We can neither use alias nor use the expression. You can see that exception thrown in await result because we will not be able to use this function as part of the where clause as this is aggregate function. We will not be able to specify aggregate functions as part of the where clause, and also the aliases. This is another type of restriction. It is nothing to do with the order of execution. It is not possible to use aggregate functions directly as part of the where clause. However, with respect to aliases, these aliases can only be specified in those clauses which will be executed after select, which is nothing but order by typically in any database. With respect to Spark SQL, it seems having will be executed after group by. That's why we can specify this even as part of the having clause. Let me run this, and it will again throw the same error which we have seen earlier. Now this will work as revenue, which is an alias defined in select, can be used in having as well as order by when it comes to Spark SQL. If you try to run this query in databases like Oracle with the same column names and same table names, it might not work because we will not be able to specify the aliases even as part of the having clause. But Spark SQL, it will work. You can see the output here. All the order dates we got here have the revenue more than $50,000. So this is how the query will be executed, which is different from the order in which the query will be written. With respect to writing the query, we start with select clause and end with order by. Whereas with respect to execution, we start with from clause and end with order by. Just before order by, typically the select clause will be executed.